Hi there. It is I, John _ Silva _ for another Silva Decodes. Today we have Fluster, and he asks, please explain brushwork and maybe process of this kind of artworks. So the short answer to it is, as far as process goes, I'm sure first thumbnailing is in order. So you do thumbnails. Like you sketch some thumbnails, right? A bunch of them, and you pick the one you like the most, and then you get subbed or resubbed.
Hey, this third time being, how are you today?
I'm very good, Hui. I'll get to you in a moment. We're in the middle of important meeting. Once you got a resub of 2 months, you do a 3D pass. So you set up the characters in a 3D environment or software or whatever, and you build the lighting, sometimes even the texture, but generally lighting on top of the 3D, or it's a 3D render. That's usually the way to go. And then on top of that, you do the brushwork, texturing, special effects, yada yada yada. But most of the heavyweight lifting is done from 3D and then painted over and like adjusted and all that. Honestly, I could stop the I could stop the video here, but instead my tablet decided to it's back. Thought it was that. I'm gonna take a screenshot and show you the brushwork, or the type of brushwork sort of done. Let's crop this. Inverse delete, and now bring this over yonder. There you go. Now here's the thing. There is a specific brush set that would be perfect for this. I don't think I have it here. But it's from a Polish... Chat, help me. Gregory something. Gregory, it's a Polish name. And he's has a very, very painterly look and cinematic look to his work. And his brushes are like honestly the best for that. But I got some replacements here from Evan Lee and Wang Jie. Gregos. Yeah, Gregos. Not George Lucas now. But yeah, so Gregos. Whatever. Yeah, Greg Rutovsky. I think that one. Listen, names are difficult for me. But anyways, what you want is highly textured brushes. And the first thing you want to do, at least to get this kind of look, actually, is before I even get to this, you want to soften up. Let me grab a lot of the heavy lifting is made through neat little brushes. I'm trying to find the perfect one for this one. Oh, this kind of good. All right. So I'm just going to make a new layer. And like anytime there's like lighting, or for example, in this character, there's a lot of light behind, you want to give a sense of like a glow, like a bloom effect, where the light bleeds a little over the character's silhouette. So you'd have a lot of that sort of happening. And by the way, this is how the brush looks like, in case you're curious. So you can just go around. This will most likely be a quick video because it's pretty self-explanatory. But let's do a little bit more here and there. You can also grab a very textury brush, pretty much the same as what I have. No, that's too harsh. This one. No, that's still too harsh. This one. Perfect. I'm actually going to lower down the opacity. If your brush is too sharp or there's a lot of texture to it, you can just lower down the opacity, or even flow. Flow works well too. I'm overdoing this a little bit too much. So let's push it back. There you go. And in a way, you're just taking parts of the render and making it painterly through, well, brushwork. Like you can even add a little bit of that here to the glow. I'd say these are like final details type of stuff. I do see some manual, like actually re-rendering the lighting here and there in a couple of areas. So I'm gonna do kind of the same, where I'm gonna take the light there. I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to add just a little bit more here to the side and show some of these areas in the render, some form. Add a little bit of form here and there. Right, and then the same goes for the face. Like you can we can make this face really, really moody by lowering down the contrast. Actually, I'm gonna bring the color wheel here. I am running out of space. I'll put it here for now because I'm doing the face. So I can make it like, I can add a little bit of tint to the shadow. It's just a bit, it's kind of like post-processing kind of detailing. I don't really know what to call it. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I'm gonna grab a softer textury brush like this one, and I kind of just glaze over, and immediately starts having like a deeper texture to it, and at the same time it softens every time you add texture to a render, you need to keep in mind that it'll always soften for the most part. So always keep that in mind. So I'm just kind of like adding more here to the side. Maybe I'm feeling like, oh, it would be cool to have a pretty strong contrast to the side here. I'm actually gonna increase my opacity now on my brush. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Here, I could use a little bit of contrast right there. Like, bam. Right. Then maybe like do the this is like everyone does this, the little like light on the on the nose. It's like most artists do that. But if I wanted to add a little bit more pink to his face, I'm gonna lower down the opacity because it's a little too. Oh, by the way, this is how the brush looks like. Because you are asking for brushes. This is how it looks like. And the brush set that I'm using, I believe, is from Evan Lee. He's a Chinese artist. He's super good too. So maybe if I just want to add a little bit of that. Once again, always keep in mind that the moment you start adding, take into consideration that you're softening the render. So you don't want to overdo it everywhere, because then it'll look like... if you overdo it, it tends to look like plastic. I don't really know if that's even the best way to describe it, but it looks weird, man. Trust me on this one. Oh yeah, and in areas that you see a lot of texture, let me grab a very textury brush like this one. Let's say I wanted to add quite a bit of texture to the hoodie here, so I'm gonna go a full opacity right now, and I'm just gonna add some of that, and then you can refine it. Like, you can actually zoom in. I'm not gonna do that, but you can zoom in and refine that, so you can see like how immediately we're getting the same kind of look. Another thing that happens a lot, especially in cinematic or keyframes, yeah, cinematic keyframes is very much. One thing that happens a lot is this: you like select an area and give it a little bit of you give it a little bit of a separation like that. You see that a lot. I'm sure like now that I've done this, you can point out areas where that's happening in the reference. Right? I'm actually gonna put the color wheel here. You're not gonna need it, but this happens so much in a lot of keyframes, and even like movies in general, where you like select an area out and you kind of like pop the you pop parts of the character to make it like more readable or whatever. And yeah, you just keep going at this point, right? I can just keep going as much as I want. Maybe I get another I guess it should be called post production kind of tweaks. Another one that you can do is adding like secondary or tertiary. In this case, would be tertiary light, which all that means is I'll make a new layer, set it to, I guess overlay will work kind of okay here, maybe. If I want to add like a soft lighting underneath, actually this is not enough. Or maybe it's just my brush. Let me see. Oh, it's just my brush. So if I want to add like another lighting to it, overlay, soft light, hard light layer, any of those can be, you can kind of like apply, you know, so like, can start pushing some of these forms in the shadow more and more if I wanted to. I actually done a lot of work like this in the past. I don't do it as much because one, I'm streaming, and two, it gets boring after a while for me. It's not for me. It's fun at first, but like when that's all you do, that's all I do, because there's plenty of people that love doing that sort of stuff. I get a bit bored. So you can start adding more to it, right? And I'm still using the same brush that I was using for some of the other areas. And honestly, I could keep going. These really, really dark areas, I would use a hard light. Hard light layer is easier to... Yeah, there you go, see? So I could just add... Like, be careful with your render, but I could add more dimension by adding another lighting layer to it. But yeah, there you go, man. Like, at this point, you can just keep going forever, honestly. Let's do a before and after. So before, after, and you can see, like, as long as you keep going, as long as you keep going and you want to add like special effects on top of these, you can do the same with brushes and stuff. And obviously I've gotten a little like, not too clean, but you can decide how clean you want to be. So, yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it. That answers this question. So thank you so much for asking. Without you guys, I would not have Silva Decodes. It would not exist. So keep on asking, and I'll see you on the next one.